Hello, this is Kevin from Northern Indiana. As you pass through this current legislative session, I have some high-priority pieces of legislation for you to either pass or repeal. Together, these ideas will help increase our freedom and bring more jobs into our state. First, we must be very diligent in paying down our debts and reducing our tax burden. According to the Mercatus Center, Indiana ranks well below average, 38th, on fiscal policy due to a high tax burden and government debt. This debt is in the form of long-term public debt for private purposes, and tax burden is mainly at the local level. This is why Indiana's overall freedom has fallen 8 places in the last 10 years. We must be more diligent to pay off our debts and become more fiscally free. I applaud Governor Pence for pushing a tax cut in 2013 and 2014, but we must do more. The State Data Lab made Indiana a sinkhole state, stating that Indiana is $3 billion short of being able to pay off its bills. We must take this $1,600 per person burden off of taxpayers and get our debts paid off. Second, we must reduce occupational licensing in the healthcare industry. Even though Indiana does rank very highly in regulatory freedom, with light zoning laws and few licensed occupations, it does heavily regulate the healthcare industry. Our caretakers already have heavy burdens having to care for patients. The least we could do is relieve some of this burden. I would recommend that independent practices by dental hygienists and nurse practitioners be legalized, and that nurse practitioners and physician's assistants be allowed full prescription authority. On top of that, I would recommend that Indiana join the Nurse Licensure Compact to give nurses more traveling freedom to other states that are a part of the compact, like Kentucky. Third, we must reform alcohol laws. I know this was considered for the 2013 legislative session and was not repealed, but I would ask that you reconsider this. A ban on Sunday alcohol sales restricts alcohol freedom and gives alcohol retailers one less day that they can sell their product. Indiana has also lost $10 to $12 million in revenue every year because of this ban. We must also allow cold beer sales in supermarkets and convenience stores. This restriction is too strict and gives unfair privileges to liquor stores. Do not allow the liquor lobbyists to restrict our freedoms in this area. It is not the government's job to pick winners and losers. Repealing these laws will boost Indiana's personal freedom. Fourth, we must repeal certain restrictions on gambling. If we truly want to make Indiana freer, we must allow people to do with their money what they want, as long as it harms no one else. Gambling in many ways is a foolish activity, but people should be allowed to do it. We need to legalize internet gambling and social gambling. Opponents of these forms of gambling blow the potential consequences way out of proportion. People do it anyway without much harm to anyone except themselves. I also have a major proposal for you to consider for the 2016 legislative session. One major idea to bring jobs and citizens in Indiana is to repeal the personal income tax. From 1992 to 2011, Indiana lost $3.84 billion in adjustable gross income, mainly to states like Florida, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. 3 of these states have zero income tax. Furthermore, ever since Indiana adopted an income tax, we have paid the price. Crime has risen, students' test scores have fallen, and Indiana's share of population, revenue, and GSP percentage-wise have fallen. We must correct this terrible mistake that occurred 50 years ago, and it's never too late to correct a mistake. I know these are extremely ambitious goals, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and we have some desperate times here in Indiana. As a national leader in many areas, we must take strong measures of leadership to continue growth and freedom. As former Governor Mitch Daniels has quoted, "Leaders never loaf. They never slip into complacency, settle for things as they are, or stop pursuing innovation and excellence of result. If they do, leadership will pass and new leaders surpass. Leaders who loaf aren't leaders for long. Indeed, we must not loaf or settle for things as good enough. We must persevere and stay strong for our future's sake. Thank you for listening, and goodbye."